Good morning. So I thought I would take a quick minute to share some information with you that, once again, you probably won't hear on your mainstream news sources today. But as you guys can see here, a massive blackout hits four countries in Central America. And so I would imagine this will be, newsworthy of hearing about because, once again, you have four countries with some power issues. And so, if you guys remember, a couple months back, I did a video on the power outage from down in South America, where there was Argentina, Uruguay, a little bit of Brazil or whatnot, impacted by a power outage as well. And to me, not to go down a conspiratorial route, but when I see events like this, it just makes me wonder. And whenever things smell funny, I typically like to just backtrack and see how and what could be connected to this. So, with that being the case, I'll put this link below so you guys can get a chance to see it for yourself. But basically, just want to share a quick thought. It says a massive blackout has left thousands without electricity in at least four countries in Central America. It says at 1748 GMT, there was an emergency in the Central American electrical system due to a failure in the 230 kilowatt supply line in Honduras. It says El Salvador's electricity operator ERR said in a statement on Monday, quote, a full blackout took place in the electrical systems of Nicaragua and Honduras, ERR said, adding that Guatemala and El Salvador only experienced partial outages. And so if you read more of here, it gives you more details. And there's other articles out here on the web that just gives some information on how chaotic it is, of course, if, all of a sudden power goes out. And so here's a picture from a Twitter account where if there's no street lights, then that's going to be a problem in the major metropolitan areas. And if anyone's had a chance to actually visit one of these countries, you know that within the cities directly, because of like somewhat of an overcrowding / a lot of traffic, things can be very hectic. But it says here the four affected nations plus Costa Rica and Panama have shared a linked electrical network since the late 1980s. It says Costa Rica and Panama were not affected by the outage. And so one interconnected power grid source pretty much supplies a good portion of that entire region. And so, as you guys can see here, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua all were impacted in some form or fashion. But yet, the question is why? And I would imagine I can share with you my thoughts that could kind of lead to a possible source or reason why there's all of a sudden a power outage in this region on this scale. So I'm going to actually share an article with you that can probably give you some ideas as to how or why that could be the case. So for those that may not be aware, in Nicaragua, there's a lot of pressure upon the Nicaraguan President Daniel Ortega. And so as you can see this article here, it says Treasury set to expand sanctions for Ortega regime. And so once again, we hear the word regime listed with another president of another nation. And so as you guys know, the United States of America happens to be involved in a lot of affairs, but I imagine a lot of you may not have known that we have issues with the regime, as is quoted here, of the Nicaraguan president there. So, and I encourage you to take some time information gathering for yourself. But on a shorter note, over the last several months / years, the United States government has been pressuring the government down there. So just recently, not too long ago, there was a demonstration that a lot of people, as well as some reporting, revealed that was funded by the North. And so all in a goal of removing this particular gentleman here from the presidency of his own country. And so, of course, specially funded interests tends to cause problems in other nations. So, of course, there's been a lot of issues down in Nicaragua. Last year, I reported on how because of some issues with the reform of their pension system and things of that nature, there was chaos in the streets, burning of things and looting and rioting. And so, of course, that stuff was escalated, I believe, with external help. And so once again, it was some things that was problematic in that region. But looks like, I would assume that this whole power outage situation could possibly be something to do with this situation right here, because as of the last couple of days, and this report here talks about, additional sanctions. So basically, they've stepped up sanctions on Daniel Ortega down in Nicaragua. At the same time, there just happens to be a power outage. So I would imagine, and just putting all this together, that the power outage which could originate in Honduras or not. And we all know that the U.S. has had issues with Honduras as well. So it goes back a lot farther than I'm actually familiar with. But if you're interested, do some research for yourself. We have additional sanctions or an increase in sanctions or a heightening of sanctions on the Nicaraguan president. At the same time, there's a power outage. It just lets me know that this is just not an accident, that power of four nations plus happens to go out at a time where a regime change is also wanted in the country of Nicaragua. So once again, I thought I would share this because this is, something you may not get from anywhere else, but wanted to just make sure I share this. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you find this important, definitely feel free to share this, and I will see you guys later. Thanks.